always said, building Jesus House Baltimore is not about me. It's about God, and it's also about legacy. It's about God, and it's also about legacy. What is the legacy? We are building in such a way that in future, 15, 20, 30 years, our children's children will point and say, look at the ministry that our fathers built. Look at the work that they did. Look at the sacrifices that they made. So this thing is more than Tola Odutola. And that's it. You have to be focused because many things will call for your attention these days. Many things will call for your attention these days. Today, I've had many missed calls. And one of the reasons why I couldn't pick up calls, you guessed right. Yes, we're doing GLC. So you can imagine me now picking all calls, settling marital problems, settling issues, and we are still doing GLC. How do you want me to do a good presentation at GLC tonight? You have to be focused. And this is where a lot of people miss it. They attend to every and all things, and there is not one thing that they are good at. You know, David was about to be stoned when they attacked Ziklag. Every leader, you should be careful not to be bound by what people think or their reaction towards you. Mr. Awusheka said the same thing. One of the greatest challenges of a lot of leaders, and I'm going to be talking more about that, in our church service on Sunday, is that people just care what people say about them, what they think about them. Honestly, I don't care. And that's the truth. Why? Because if I keep on caring about what 3,000 people think about me, I will be crazy by now. I'll be on medication. And Pastor Shola already said this. And in the same thing, I act and I do what I do to the audience of one person. It is God Almighty, the one who called me. Because at the end of the day, is the one that will judge and say, this is what we told you to do. How come you didn't do it? Lack of focus. David encouraged himself and he went after those people. If you focus on what people say about you, you will not achieve anything as a leader in life. You will not. Because people have different opinions. People have different ideas. They have different ideas of who you should be, as a matter of fact. As a matter of fact, in their mind, they picture you that this is what a pastor should look like, talk like, walk like, act like. And this is what a pastor's wife should be, look like, talk like, act like. I said, no. I want to let you see, you have to understand what God has called you to do. No matter the business you are doing, if you believe very strongly that this is what God has given me to do, for now, focus on it. You will find fulfillment there. You will find prosperity there. You will find peace there because you are focused. Don't allow anybody to define you. Let your vision and the results define who you are. You must know the core value of your business. Mr. Awusheka said that also. You have to, you see, when you know the core value of your business, of who you are, of what you have been asked to do, it's not that difficult for you to make a decision of what you want to do. No, it's not. It's not. I mean, it's like I'm repeating everything that she said because she was talking earlier today and she said, why would I want to sit at 9 hours at a party in Lagos? And I'm sure that sounds familiar to any JHB person. Why do I want to sit at 10 hours in your party for? Have I been called to do party? No, that's not what God called me for. So even if I show up and I leave at 1 hour and you are taking offense, it's because you don't know what God has called me for. That 1 hour, it means a whole lot to me. And I'm talking about focus. Let me give you a practical example. Later tomorrow evening, I had called a nephew of mine. I said, I want to come to your house. I want to come and see your mom, who's my sister, and da 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 da. And he said, oh, they will be going out, but they'll probably come back home about 6 o'clock. I said, that's a bit too late for me. I said, but because of how important it is, I'll still come. He said, Uncle T, I understand. Sunday is your day, and this is Saturday. He told his mom. They also understood. They changed it and got back to me. They said, we'll be home at 3 o'clock. Why? Saturday night is not visitation night for me. I'm thinking about Sunday. That's my priority. I'm amazed that people go to parties and do so many things to distract them from the original call and the things that God has put in their hands. And you are now scantering around and running around on Monday morning trying to look for what is not lost. And I'm saying, what were you thinking? Why are you getting home at 3 a.m. when you know you have job, office at 9 a.m. on Monday morning and 3 a.m.? That's when you get home from Sunday night to Monday? And you still want to perform at a very high level? Be focused. Jesus said that the lamp of the body is the eye. He said, if your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light. If your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light. Stay on point. Don't be a master of all trade, or jack of all trade and master of none. Improve and focus on your strength, and nobody will notice your weakness. You remember what she said also? Ms. Ojika said this in the last session, that she focuses on her own strength, and that which is not her own strength, she will get people to be there. Focus on your strength, and then after a while, your weakness will not matter. Number 5, I'm talking about resilient leadership. Characteristics of resilient leaders. Resilient leaders are flexible. They embrace change. They are flexible. When we look at the story of Abraham in Genesis 11, the scripture was talking about Abraham by faith, how he went out from a place and he was going to a place where he didn't know. And he was dwelling in tents with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs of the same promise with him. Why was he dwelling in tents? So that he would not have to have a permanent fixture. So if God says get up again, boom, he gets up. Because it's a tent, he can dismantle it and he will get up. The elasticity of the rubber band makes it bigger than its original size. I repeat that. The elasticity of the rubber band makes it bigger than its original size. Flexibility enlarges your mind. Flexibility. It enlarges the organization. Flexibility enhances your marriage. I've seen people who, oh my goodness, who make a boast and say, when I put my mind on something, and they're talking about rigidity. I'm not talking about focus now. They're talking about rigidity. And I'm telling you, everybody is subject to change. It's only God that does not change. It's only God that does not change. In Isaiah 54, verse 2, it says, enlarge the place of your tent. Enlarge the place of your tent. Many times we have quoted that scripture that says, enlarge your tent. No, it says, enlarge the place of your tent. The place of your tent is where you put your tent upon. So no matter the size of your tent, if the place of your tent is not big enough, the tent cannot take it or accommodate it. And that place of your tent is your mind. Enlarge your mind. Enlarge your mind. Once we enlarge our minds, I'm telling you, there is nothing that you go through in life that you will not survive. Enlarge your mind. Enlarge your mind. There are many things happening right now in this generation that I don't understand. But honestly, I say to my children, if it brings success, then it's okay. Enlarge the place of your mind. Flexibility. There was a time I never thought it is possible to study without listening, to a radio or doing this. Is possible. But I realized that over time, I saw my children doing the thing. Over time now, even the TV might be on and I'm writing messages and I'm not distracted. Enlarge the place of your mind. This mind is so powerful that whatever you give it room to do is what it does. If you put it in a narrow place, it stays narrow. If you enlarge it, it stays enlarged. I've been a victim of this many times. But I got to a point in life, I said, it will never happen to me again. What do I mean by that? When I think of something, the first thing that occurs to me is, how will I fund it? As a church pastor, the first thing that comes to my mind when we want to do any program, how are we going to fund it? But I've realized that it's a wrong way of thinking. The issue is not about funding. The issue is that, is it an instruction from God? And if God has ordained it, then He will find a way for it to be funded. Enlarge the place of your mind. Complex people complicate matters. I have a problem with people who are complex. Everything about them, you have to explain yourself. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like this. I'm just saying, please, please, please. I can't be explaining everything to you every day. I cannot be apologizing for everything I say. Complexity, because some people are so touchy and they are so complex that everything you say, they take it personal. And I'm saying life is too short to be taking every statement personal. For how long? I've realized that being simple makes things easier to retain patronage. Being simple. I've always believed that simplicity will answer to a lot of issues that people are dealing with today. Again, Ms. Aoshika said that. She said that one thing she likes is that she's simple. She's simple. Some people have to, they want people to know that they have arrived when they show up. When they show up, simplicity. How many times have I said to a protocol in our church, I say, I can carry my iPad. Carrying my iPad is the list of things I can do. I can carry my iPad. I carry it from my house. So why should you be carrying it for me when I come to church? But some people, as soon as they walk in like this, there are 3 or 4 people carrying their bags. I'm saying, for what? For what? Simplicity. Our God is a simple God. And you can imagine how God is working with us to let you know how simple He is. How simple He is, that it's by grace that we have been saved. True faith is a gift. How simple our God is. Just believe in the Lord, confess your sins. He said, and then you are cleansed, and that's it. And that's the reason why so many people don't even want to accept, because they see it as too simple. You see, when you are complex, it's difficult for people to be connected with you. They can see it, and you are trying very hard to win people over to your side. But they can see that thing that you are doing is not real, is not genuine. You are just doing it because of the position. Rigid people are always trying to make points. Every time they have to make a point. Every time they have to make a point. I've realized at times you can just keep quiet. That doesn't mean whether you are guilty or you are not guilty. Just have to keep quiet. Okay, I get it. That's all right. Let's move on. And I move on with life. But every time you are defending yourself, you have to be careful, because the more you do a lot of that, the more you are pushing people away from you. Resilient leaders are flexible. If you are not flexible, you cannot adapt in the marketplace. You cannot adapt in the nation or the industry. Look at the flexibility of Amazon. It made them the market leader in online sales because they're flexible. There was a time that Walmart was not the leading brick and mortar business online. They were not the best. But I looked at their result the second quarter of this year. They beat everybody. Everybody, they beat them hands down. Why? Because they were flexible. They decided to make changes. How simple is your website to navigate? There are many businesses making millions of dollars, without brick and mortar. Things don't have to be difficult for you to work. I had an experience in London many years ago, and I will apologize to all our, British audience tonight. I've always said that I don't know why the British say, I'm sorry. I'm saying, don't say you are sorry. Just solve the problem. Just say, I'm sorry. Now, when the British person says to you, I'm sorry, he wants to tell you a bad news. And it's not like he cannot, or he or she cannot change that thing. But because most times they're not flexible. So what happened? I booked a hotel. We're going to stay in London for about maybe 4 or 5 days with a particular credit card. So when I got to London, I didn't have that credit card with me. So I wanted to exchange it with another credit card. So I gave them my passport and everything. And I said, they say, we have you booked under this credit card. I said, yeah. I said, please, can you take off that credit card? Let me use this credit card. And she said, I'm afraid I can't. I said, why are you afraid? I said, just change it. The next thing she said blew me out. She said, I will have to cancel your reservation. And then I will check if we have reservation again for you with the new card. I said, really? By this time, I was getting impatient. So I said, can I talk to your supervisor? They went around and they looked for the supervisor. Eventually, the supervisor came. The supervisor said, oh, yes, we have to that. I said, the room is already booked. The room is available right now. So why would you want to cancel that room? I said, all you are doing is just to change the credit card, for God's sake. If I chose to pay in cash and I say I'm not paying in cash again, I want to use debit card, why should that be a problem? I'm afraid that's the first thing they will say to you in UK. Eventually, I think the second layer of authority came, and that one said, oh, they can, and they changed the thing. And I said, how can this be? And that's how it is when people are not flexible. The simpler you are, the more accessible you become. The more accessible your organization becomes. The more accessible your church becomes, the simpler you are. Number six. 2 more points, and then we'll round this up. Number 6. Resilient leaders are always very creative. Resilient leaders, they are creative. Creativity, this is to develop problem-solving skills. If you are not creative and you get stuck, you will get stuck for a while. So you must be able to operate out of the box. What can we do to change the system? What can we do to make this train running and not stop? We will solve the problem later, but for now, what can we do in the interim? Creativity. There is nothing visionary or creative if we are doing things the same old way. This is the way it used to be. There are several ways things can be done. I've realized that now, without breaking rules. There are several ways things can be done now, without breaking rules. In the case of Gideon, when God called him to go to battle, and what did Gideon do? 32,000 plus people came with Gideon, and they wanted to battle with him. And God said, no, these people are too many. And this is what we're going to do. Ask whoever is scared amongst them, let them go home. 20,000 left immediately. Remaining 10,000 thereabout. And God said, okay, these are still too many. I want to look for creative people here. So what did God say? God said, take them to the water brook. Let's see how they will drink water. If they lap the thing like a dog is lapping, then we'll see that that one is the one that we should choose. And that's how they chose them. That's how they chose them. Creativity is the mother of invention. If you are not creative, you can't invent any new thing. If you are not creative, you can't start something new. You have to be creative. You have to look for ways that people are not thinking to do the same thing and to achieve even the same thing or better. As tough as things are now, I want you to know that creative people, churches, businesses, they are still growing. As tough as things are. If you are a church pastor and you are online and you are saying to yourself, my business or the church is not growing, or you're a businessman, you're saying my business is not growing, can you go and check how creative you have become? Or maybe you are stuck in the same old way. Because when you are creative, there is no way you will not grow. Because creativity brings growth. Creativity makes you to stand out from the pack. People are tired of attending just churches every day. They want creative and impactful ministry. They want a ministry that will impact their lives and they will see a change. They want a business that will do something different and makes life so easy for them. Last week, we traveled out of the state. We went for a wedding, and we have said to ourselves, that, hey, let's just relax where we're staying. We decided not to stay in the hotel, and we said, let's relax, but if we want to eat, we eat out and all. So I said to my wife, while at the airport, I said, look for an African restaurant, preferably a Nigerian restaurant, order some food, and let them go and deliver in the house we are staying in. Creativity. She looked, she found one. She, Uber Eats, or is it DoorDash, one of those two? Pum. They said they'll deliver in 1 hour. We reckoned that in 1 hour we should be at that apartment, but we were not there in 1 hour. Guess what? The person that was delivering the food had been there in 1 hour, and the person called us on phone and said, I'm here at your door and I'm knocking. We said, we are not there right now. Put the food in front of the door. Just leave it in front of the door. Oh boy, they left the food in front of the door. We got to the place, we found the food. We ate. Creativity. Before, you will have been going all over the place, looking for where to do this, looking for in a city where you are not familiar with. But thank God, the people, even though they are selling African food, they have a website that you can go to. You are wondering, why is your business not moving? You are not creative. You're not creative. You keep on praying. You keep on binding. You keep on anointing the place. But you are not doing anything creative. Nothing creative. Nobody's going to know where you are. You must be creative in order to be resilient and in order for you to survive shock. And finally, resilient people or leaders, they persevere and they are very intentional. Resilient people, they know how to persevere and they are very intentional. What does it mean to persevere? Perseverance is to hold on despite opposition and sometimes discouragement. To hold on despite opposition and discouragement. To be intentional is to do things by design or on purpose. It's to do things. It's almost impossible to be resilient without these two, which is perseverance and intentionality. I'm amazed that many times people are saying, oh, nobody's supporting me, nobody's supporting me. It's okay. It's okay. It's your vision. It's your vision. Really, do you need a lot of people like that to support your vision? Let that vision begin to speak, and you will see how many people will show up to support you. And that's it. You must persevere. Because if you shut down before people start to appreciate what you have to offer, then there's no story to tell. That's why they say where I come from, that if you're going to talk about the war, you must survive the war. You must survive the war. When things seem not to be working, what makes you to hold on is perseverance. It's perseverance. It's not for the weak at heart. And I said it earlier, that you have to be courageous and strong. It's for the strong. There is no vision without its challenges. You know, there was a time a pastor was discussing with me about the challenges he was facing trying to build their church. And I was really, trying to encourage him. I said, don't worry, it's going to come to pass. At times, these things. He said, no, you don't understand. Pastor T, when you built your own church, you didn't go through this kind of challenge. I said, whoa, were you there? Which paper did you read it in the news? That I didn't go through challenges. The issue of life is that it's not everybody that carry their challenges on their faces. And then I started giving him some situations. They say, really? I said, yeah. In Charlotte right now, we have been paying rent in Charlotte, I think since February, this September. They just started renovation last month, and we have still not finished. And we are paying rent. Not only are we paying rent there, we are paying rent in the hotel that they are doing the church service as well. So what do? Do you award contract when you don't have a place of worship? So the place of worship will come forth before you award the contract. And in awarding the contract, the county must give you approval. There are steps to go. There are people to pay. There are architects and everybody to talk to, artisans and all that to talk to before they all accept. And then you negotiate the bill and all that. It's perseverance. So somebody will not show up tomorrow and tell me, oh, the church in Charlotte. I say, you have no clue. You don't know how much money we have spent in that place. You have no clue. We are trying to build a banquet hall now. Last year, we started, the approval process. We still don't have the approval process now. This is September. This is September 2023. We still don't have the approval. And then somebody will now come and say, oh, I said, no, it doesn't work like that. Because we were not crying over it. Because we were not making face. Because we were not frowning. Does it mean that we are not going through challenge? We were. But we just made mind that we are going to persevere. So you too, you can persevere. When Nehemiah decided to build the wall, he persevered. It was intentional. He followed a deliberate pattern to get to his destination. People were telling him that, oh, don't worry, there's no way you can build a wall, that the wall will last and everything. Nehemiah was not discouraged by any means, but he kept on moving. Challenges, I want you to know that they are part of life. Refuse to abandon your goals because of challenges. Most challenges are temporary, and I've said that enough. Paul said to Timothy, he said, endure hardship as a good soldier of Christ. Endure hardship as a good soldier of Christ. The challenge of many people today aspiring for leadership is that they cannot take hardship. One small hardship, they say, I'm resigning. I'm leaving here. I can't do it here. I'm resigning. I said, what is it that you have started now that you think you are doing something? What have you done really that you think is a big deal? You have just started. If every day you are resigning, at the end of the day, they will resign you yourself. So you need to get up and say, this is part of life. It's part of life. He said, no one engage in warfare, entangle himself with the affairs of this life, that it may please him who enlisted him. Who has enlisted you in what you are doing? Who gave you the vision of what you are doing? Who made you the leader of where you are? So you need to understand that. And because of that, you don't carry out a threat every minute and say, I'm leaving. After a while, they will call you out and say, you can leave. And there will be people that will take over and nothing will happen. Remember, God said, I have 7,000 prophets that have not bowed down to Baal. So there's a replacement for you, unfortunately. And there is for me too. So nobody can threaten anybody. If I threaten you as a pastor, God will say, don't worry, don't worry. You never thought you could do this work. I called you, I built you up. I will call somebody else, I will build them up. So you should not be too full of yourself. In 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 10, it says, therefore I endure all things for the sake of the elect, that they may also obtain the salvation in which Christ Jesus with eternal glory. You must know how to keep on standing despite challenges to your vision. And finally, I want you to understand, I would rather be a visionary and go through life or than go through life without a vision. I would rather be a visionary than go through life without a vision. You can do this. God bless you.
A lot of us have gleaned a lot from this and are going to use it by God's grace. Well, we're going to go into a session of question and answers at this time, and we have a few questions for you. I want to start out by, quoting you something you said a few minutes ago. You said, refuse to abandon your goals because of hardship. And that would be a great segue into the question that someone has here. They said, how do you summon up the courage to start again when you have been betrayed by trusted employees or business partners? So this person
You just have
obviously
to,
issues.
you just have to look for strength within you to say to yourself, yes, I've been disappointed by this employee or by that one, but I'm not going to give up. Why? Because why you are doing what you are doing should be your focus. Why am I in ministry? It's, I've always believed one thing, and this happened many, many years ago. I was going through some challenges, and then one of my associates wanted to do something. And I said, no, don't do that thing now. Just, let's just finish with this and that. And I noticed he didn't like what I said. So I went back to God and said, what did I do wrong? And God said to him, let him go and do what he wants to do. That he was not there when I called you. Let him go and do what he wants to do. I called the guy the next day. I said, go and do whatever you want to do. He freed me. At times, we overvalue people. You think that somebody will be with you for a long time, and then they are not with you for a long time, and you start thinking, but you look back and you realize that even their living has elevated you. And that's the thing. So honestly, I don't close my eyes just because somebody messed me up and they are passing by, because a good person might pass by and I will miss them as well. So you just learn to take it in strides, and that's another stride. I'll keep on moving.
I'll keep on moving. I'll keep on moving. And I believe that's right about sums up that question and also some of the things that you had talked about. So thank you very much for that answer, Pastor. There's another question someone has here, and they're asking, how do I, as a leader, encourage a culture of resilience and innovation within my organization? And I think this alludes to the fact that you talked about creativity. So this leader is asking, how can I encourage that culture of resilience? Maybe we made a decision and we had to bounce back from the effects of that decision, and at the same time be creative. How do we continue doing that, or how do we do that as an organization?
The organization has to determine from onset what are our goals. What are our goals? When you look at Jesus House Baltimore, for instance, It is challenging people to maximize their potentials. So in everything we do, that should be the motivating factor. Do you understand? And there's something about leadership that people watch your body language. If every news that is brought to you, you sigh, hey, then you are not worth being a leader. You are not worth being a leader. You see, at times they tell you things not because you don't know already. There are times people tell me things I already know, and I'm doing as if I don't even know anything about it. And the body language says a lot, because when you slouch or you just do like, "Hmm, I'm tired of this thing," then they get that from you and they turn it into an organizational culture that even our boss too is tired. So why can we not be tired too? We too, we are tired.
Uh,
Do you understand? So every leader has to understand that no matter the challenge, one of the major things you must do is to stabilize the ship. Stabilize the ship. Let people know that one of the reasons why I share a lot of personal stuff in church is that I want to demystify that thing that makes you look like a superhuman being. And that's one of the challenges of pastors. We dress up and we are doing as if we have no issues. What's wrong with us?
mhm.
What's wrong with us? You dress up as if everything is okay with you, as if you just fought your husband before coming to church, and you are acting as if everything is okay. What's wrong with us? Why can't we live a life that is simple and open,
Mm.
and just let people understand? Listen, possibly there are things in my life that if I didn't share it, it would take God for you to know. But everybody wants to present themselves as if they were born with a silver spoon, and you were
Wow.
born with no spoon.
Wow.
So why don't you just look? This is who I am. I am here. I am what I am, like Paul said, by God's grace.
That's
When people
right.
see that in you, they know that this guy is a genuine person. When people see that in you also, how you have been able to maneuver around every major challenge and created a way, they know that they too have to try to maneuver to create a way out of the current jam, and they become resilient. And that's it. And that's it.
Mm.
It's important that we as leaders, we don't create a false impression of who we are not because we are trying to impress people.
Wow. Wow. So being open,
Yeah,
sharing your journey. It
yeah,
does. We don't have to be masked men and women. No need for
yeah,
cover up.
yeah.
Authenticity is key. Thank you so much, Pastor. That is awesome. You said something when you first started, and one of the initial points you gave, you talked about that most battles are fought in the mind. It's a mind game. You said that if you can win the battle in your mind, then you've done the greater part of the work. And somebody is asking, how do you deal with the emotional toll that discouragement and disappointments have taken? How do you handle the emotional toll? It's affecting the mind of this leader, and they're saying, how can I want to get back up again, but right now I can't even summon up that strength and that oomph to go again.
It's because you've allowed it. It's because you've allowed it. The Bible says that whatever we allow here on earth shall be allowed in heaven. So
Mm,
whatever we disallow here shall be disallowed in heaven. You see, when you hold on to emotional pains and hurts, it will pain you and it will hurt you.
mm.
You have to get to a point that we start thinking like children. When two children fight right now, in the next 2 minutes, they are playing again.
That's
It's
right.
because we allow it. We allow those things. We allow those things. Let me give you an example, real life example. There was a lady. She used to be in this church, and our former pastor passed. You know, and The former pastor was somebody a lot of people knew the former pastor, So I also knew the former pastor, and I know that the lady used to be in the church of that pastor. So the pastor passed, and so after about 6 months to 1 year, I just noticed that she was getting melancholic, you know. And one day I met her in the corridor, and I said, "Are you okay? I've been watching you for a while. This is not who." And she said, "The pain of my pastor passing is too much for me." I said, "Oh, the spouse of your pastor is about to get married." I said, "Get out of this nonsense, my friend. The spouse of the pastor is about to marry again. You are still crying here." Uh, I said, "What is the problem now?" And that is how some people do this thing. You cry more than the bereaved.
Wow.
Because you have to say to yourself, yes, this thing has happened, but there's more to life.
Hmm.
And I've realized one thing: life does not wait for anybody. It doesn't wait. Life is always moving. Dr. Ibuka said a whole lot about that. That if anybody dies today, I'm telling you, life moves on. There will
Hmm.
be church tomorrow if anybody dies today, and that church will call service of songs.
Wow.
There'll be church a day after. That church service is called burial service. They call it homegoing or whatever name they want to call it. It is still church service. They are glorifying God there, and they are going to bury the person. So life is always moving on. So I have to make a determination in my spirit so that I don't get into a state of perpetual depression. That when people do those kind of things, honestly, I have to wipe it away and move on. I have to wipe this thing and move on because there is more ahead of me than what I've just gone through.
There is more ahead of me than what I've just gone through. Yes. I think if we can all remember that, it will serve us well, sincerely. Sometimes, Pastor, though, it can seem bleak, You just think that, whoa, that was a heavy blow. But so this is encouraging to hear because of what is ahead of us. And I think you spoke to that also about focus. So if I love the last thing you said when you were trying to encourage us. You said, I'd rather be a visionary than have no vision. That is loaded, Pastor. I'd rather
Mm.
be a visionary than have no vision. Pastor,
Because
I don't think you can leave that statement like that. Please shed a bit more
life
light on it.
becomes more interesting
Hmm.
when you have a vision. Life becomes more purposeful when you're a
Yeah.
visionary. Life becomes more entertaining when you're a visionary. You go to bed and you wake up early because you have a vision.
Hmm. There's something burning inside
I
of you that you're
I
yearning to
I,
achieve.
I cannot tell you, but I woke up this morning at 1:30 a.m. and I was thinking about getting here for 8:30.
Yeah.
1:30 a.m. I woke up.
Vision
I have been
excites.
in this place since
Wow.
8:30. This is 8:30 right now. 12 hours
Wow.
I've been here. I'd rather be a visionary than be without a vision.
Wow.
Because at least I know the 12 hours I've put in here, that you two you have put in here, that many people have put in here, we are achieving the purpose.
That's right.
We are blessing people. We
That's
are
right.
going there adding to people.
Yeah.
I could have spent the same 12 hours sitting down playing Nintendo game or going to a party or doing one
Woo.
thing or the other or checking out Instagram page or doing da 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 da. Which I'm not saying that those things are wrong, but I'm saying I would rather use my time productively.
Yeah.
Productively, yeah, yeah.
About
I would rather.
choices. It's about choices. It's about choices. Thank you so much, Pastor. It's been 12 hours, so we just have to ask one more question before we close tonight. And so we
Yeah,
don't wear
yeah.
you out because we know you have a lot to give, sir. And there's still tomorrow, so we'll still learn a whole lot more. But the last question for this evening is this: what steps can I, as a leader, take to continuously learn and grow even while facing obstacles. So this person is asking, and they're saying the obstacles are kind of maybe limiting, and they need to move forward. They want to grow, but the obstacles seem probably like it's looming so large that it's stifling them.
Yeah. Number one, learn to talk to people.
Mm,
Learn to talk to people. There is nothing that you are going through or you have gone through that somebody has not gone through it before. So when you learn to talk to people, you will get encouragements from them. You get instructions, you get directions from them. That's number one. Number two, hang around people that are cheerful and forward looking. Do you understand? I don't do pity parties. I don't do that. You know, if you complain too much, I get irritated because I'm saying, please, 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 leave that one. It's part of the game. Why? Because if you don't like the heat, get out of the kitchen. Get out of the kitchen. So if you are in the kitchen, there is heat in the kitchen, no. You understand? So it's part of it. It comes with it. So once you understand that and you get around people who will encourage you and who will challenge you to be better than who you are, then you are almost half on your way. And that's
mm,
the truth. You're almost half on your way. And finally, the same thing like I said before, don't dwell on hurts. Don't dwell on hurts. Look, I've been married for 33 years. Does it mean that me and my wife we don't disagree?
mm,
Does it mean that we have not hurt each other? If you dwell on hurts, the thing will not last. You just
mm,
learn to move on. You just learn to move on. Yes, it's painful, but okay, that's all right. It's okay. Yeah, you'll get better next time. And then you move on. Because if you don't do that, I'm telling you, life becomes lonely.
wow.
There's an African adage, very simple, that if you don't forget the disagreements of yesterday, after a while,
Mm,
you will no longer have friends to play with.
mm,
If you are canceling everybody, very soon, you yourself will be cancelled. You know. So,
wow.
so, 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 what do you do? And at least for me, at this my age now in life, I can't afford to be lonely. So I
Mm,
can't be fighting everybody everywhere. I keep quiet a lot of times. It's not because I'm wrong or anything. I just say, you know what? I don't have energy for this. I just don't have energy for this. If you want to get a stripe for being right, it's okay. Get it. Let me move on. Let me move on because there's more. There's more.
yeah,
There's always more. There's always more. If you have not had anything from me today, hear this. There is always more. We sleep tonight, we wake up tomorrow, there is more waiting for you tomorrow.
mm,
So I don't want to die today because there is more tomorrow.
there is
The best
more.
is yet to come.
Wow.
There's more. Oh,
There is more. Thank you so much, Pastor Tola. That's a great place to end day one of the Great Leadership Conference 2023. You will agree with me, everyone, that this has been an impactful, powerful, empowering, enlightening, motivating day for us. And we trust that you will join as well tomorrow. Thank you again so much, Pastor Tola, for your time, for pouring into us as you have just done. Tomorrow, Saturday, our session starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's 7 a.m. Pacific Time, and 3 p.m. British Standard Time or West African Time. The first session will be taken by Mrs. Audrey Jo Ezigbo, and she's going to be speaking on leading through crisis. Without a shadow of a doubt, the world we're living in right now, there's crisis everywhere. She's going to be talking about leading through crisis. We're going to follow that with a Q&A session, so we'll have the opportunity to ask her questions. And please, you can use any of the platforms to send in your questions even ahead of time, and surely also during her session. The second and final session for GLC 2023 is going to be with Pastor Boju Oyemade, and he's going to be speaking on sharing the burden and fostering collaboration. Sharing the burden and fostering collaboration. We'll also have a session of questions and answer with him. And so, again, we want to say thank you. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow, again, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's 7 a.m. Pacific Time, and 3 p.m. British Standard Time or West African Time. Thank you so much, and have a good evening. God bless you.
Thank you for joining us today for the Great Leadership Conference 2023. We are certain that you have been blessed and impacted by today's teachings. Great Leadership Conference continues tomorrow at 10 a.m. with exceptional leaders like Mrs. Audrey Jo Ezigbo, who will be speaking on leading through crisis. And Pastor Poju Oyemade will be speaking on sharing the burden and fostering collaboration. Kindly mark your calendar for Great Leadership Conference 2024, scheduled for September 20th and 21st, 2024. Thank you for being part of this conference, and God bless.